amongst others, passed by the sixth administration are in abeyance purely because the then 20% DA has now found a 40% amenable ANC partner to reverse and undermine transformation. President Ramaphosa has capitulated to unreasonable demands by his DA handlers in an attempt to reinstate some of the racist clauses already discarded by the administration. Furthermore, even in Parliament, we are saddled with extreme DA minister-led incompetence pertaining to the setting up of the Dawn as an alternative to banned Parliament. Parliament decided in June already that the Dawn must be set up, yet Public Works under the DA minister is still on one step taken in September to effect the project plan. It is embarrassing to mention that even as we speak, Parliament still does not have a total cost breakdown beyond the estimated cost of 12 to 20 million rand. South Africa is very fortunate to have an organization like the MK Party, which has single-handedly broken the stereotype that the ineffective ANC had in this country. The emergence of the MK Party and the leadership of His Excellency President Jacob Zuma has ensured that the administration of the Crown, it has ensured that the administrators of the Crown to no longer have a free rein in the country. However, we call on South Africa to be vigilant against the proxy of the Crown, which is the DA and her collaborators, and this should not hoodwink the already malleable ANC of Ramaphosa. Let me make this up. Technology was never meant for old people. I apologize for that. Sorry, I've already read that. To add insult to injury, we have seen how this government protects its own while the people suffer. The recent decision by the NPA, that is the National Prosecuting Authority, not to prosecute the president over the Phala scandal is a clear example of how justice in this country is reserved for the powerful. Millions of rands were found hidden on the president's farm, yet he walks free without facing any consequences. This is a slap in the face of every South African who demands accountability and fairness. If this government truly cared about transparency and justice, they would ensure that no one, not even the president, is above the law. But instead, we see them closing ranks, protecting each other, and letting corruption thrive while the people continue to struggle. The MK Party has been deliberate and systemic in its attempt to salvage South Africa from the rod of the DA-led coalition. Our approach is informed by our people's mandate and is encapsulated in our manifesto, which has 8 pillars. All our efforts as the MK Party are rooted in those 8 pillars. The Umkhonto weSizwe Party stands firmly in solidarity with the working class, the downtrodden people, and all South African and black in particular. The ANC, which should now be referred to as a former liberal and dismantling of public services crucial to our people's well-being. The DA-led coalition under Ramaphosa has perpetuated the indignity of South Africans by preserving a constitutional framework that serves the elite rather than the people of this country. The Constitution, hailed as progressive, has in fact become an obstacle to land reform and the transformation of the restoration of dignity, I beg your pardon. It protects the property rights of those who historically stole the land and ensures the continued marginalization of the majority. Under the MK party, we would scrap the constitutional supremacy in favor of that which prioritizes the dignity and sovereignty of the people. We believe that only returning to parliamentary sovereignty can we enact laws that truly reflect the will of the people and restore their dignity through land reform and the empowerment of traditional leadership. This is what a revolutionary government delivers in 100 days. Indeed, the current constitution stands in a way of reclaiming our land and mineral resources. The DA-led coalition has used constitutional protections and the ANC ambivalence to delay land expropriation and the nationalization of mineral resources, allowing white monopoly capital and foreign corporations to continue plundering our people, our wealth. The MK party would move swiftly to repeal this constitution, which safeguards the interest of the elite and restore parliamentary sovereignty, which allows elected representatives to act in the best interests of the people. Through this, we would ensure that land and resources are transferred back into the hands of the people, using the wealth of our country to benefit all South Africans, not just a privileged few. This is what a revolutionary government delivers in 100 days. Under the guise of constitutional sovereignty, the DA-led coalition has stripped the people of their power, governing through an elite judicial system rather than the will of the people. Instead, the ANC's obsession with so-called constitutionalism, it has alienated the masses from the decision-making processes. MK would return to parliamentary sovereignty, placing power back in the hands of the people's elected representatives. We would ensure that the decisions regarding the future of South Africa, especially those concerning economic transformation and land reform, are made by the people, for the people, without an interference from the elite neoliberal constitution that protects the interests of the few. This is what a revolutionary government would do in 100 days in office. Indeed, the DA-led coalition's adherence to neoliberal constitution has locked South Africa into an economic system that benefits white monopoly capital at the expense of the majority. This constitution was designed to protect the wealth of those who control the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, commonly known as the JSE, and ensure the continued exploitation of our resources by foreign interest. The MK party would scrap this constitution and introduce an economic model that prioritizes the people. We would reclaim our economy from the grip of white monopoly capital and ensure that the wealth generated from our land and resources is reinvested in the development of our communities rather than following into the pockets of foreign shareholders. This is what a revolutionary government would do in 100 days. Under the DA-led coalition's constitution, education and technological development have been left to decay, with the elite and sending their children to private schools, while the masses suffer an underfunded system. Indeed, this constitution has protected the interests of those who already hold power, ensuring that human capital development remains the privilege of the few. MK would scrap this constitution and introduce policies that invest heavily in building our human capital and technological capabilities, ensuring that every South African has access to quality education and the skills needed to thrive in this modern world. This is what a responsible revolutionary government would deliver in 100 days. The DA-led coalition's adherence to constitutional sovereignty has allowed the continued control of urban spaces by a wealthy minority, while the majority remain confined to informal settlements. Indeed, this constitution has been a barrier to spatial justice, ensuring that the legacy of apartheid geography remains intact. MK would scrap the current constitution and prioritize parliamentary sovereignty, allowing us to reclaim urban and rural spaces for our people. We must embark on a radical program of land redistribution and spatial transformation, creating inclusive and equitable cities and towns that serve the South Africans, not just a few elite people. This is what a responsible government would deliver in 100 days. Indeed, the DA-led coalition's failure to reform the justice system has allowed corruption, crime, and violence to flourish. The Constitution has tied the hands of lawmakers, preventing them from enacting reforms that would protect the people. The MK party would restore parliamentary sovereignty and scrap the Constitution, allowing us to build a justice system that serves the people. We would reform law enforcement, tackle crimes at its roots, and ensure that every South African feels safe and secure in their community. Under the MK leadership, the safety and the security of the people would be paramount, and we would build a system that protects the many, not just a few. This is what a responsible revolutionary government would do in 100 days. The DA-led coalition's allegiance to constitutional sovereignty has undermined South Africa's sovereignty on the global stage. Indeed, the Constitution has been used to justify the government's capitulation to foreign powers and their economic interest, allowing white foreigners to continue controlling our resources and wealth. MK would scrap this constitution and reclaim South Africa's sovereignty by ensuring that the country is governed in the interests of the people. It's governed in the interests of the people, not global elites. We would assert South Africa's position as a leader in Africa and the world, championing the cause of oppressed people everywhere and standing firm against neo-colonialism. This is what a responsible revolutionary government that would do in 100 days. Indeed, the DA-led coalition has delayed the implementation of an efficient and effective healthcare system, hiding behind constitutional constraints that favor private healthcare over public services. The current constitution protects the rights of the wealthy to access world-class private healthcare while leaving the majority to suffer under the underfunded public system. MK would scrap the constitution and ensure the immediate implementation of a universal healthcare system that provides quality care to all South Africans. We would invest in public health infrastructure and ensure that South Africa's wealth is used to build a health system that serves everyone, not just the rich or the elite. This is what a revolutionary government would do in 100 days. South Africa is a wealthy country, yet the wealth remains concentrated in the hands of small elite due to protections enshrined in the current constitution. Indeed, the DA-led coalition has failed to ensure that South Africa's wealth is shared among its people, allowing white monopoly capital and foreign corporations to continue their exploitation of our land and resources. MK would scrap the constitution and return to parliamentary sovereignty, enabling us to reclaim the wealth of South Africa and ensure that it is shared among all South Africans. MK will guarantee that this wealth is used to eradicate poverty, create jobs, and build a prosperous future for all. This is what a revolutionary government delivers in 100 days in office. The MK Party calls on all left-wing political organizations, grassroots movements, and trade unions to unite and build a broad front. The collaboration of leftist forces must transcend ideological divisions and become a powerful shield against neoliberalism embedded within the current DA-led coalition framework. Our fight must be centered on dismantling austerity policies, reclaiming public resources for the people, and advancing radical economic transformation. We call on all our black brothers and sisters, workers, youth, and rural poor to mobilize actively and resist these reactionary forces. The struggle for economic emancipation is far from being over. The policy reversals we witness today, including the undermining of transformational policies such as the National Health Insurance, commonly known as NHI, are a stark reminder that the neoliberal project is designed to benefit a privileged minority at the expense of the masses. I end there.
Thank you, DP. We'll open up for questions, taking into consideration that we have to be in the National Assembly. So we'll start 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Lindsay Lenkler, Eyewitness News. Given that you're not able to scrap the Constitution at this point in time, what new bills or legislation will the MK Party be tabling anytime soon that will bring about some of the ideals that you have just outlined, Dr. Shrobe? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shrobe, Jesse Felix, News 24. You've spoken extensively on the ANC and what we call the so-called GNU government or GNU. What has been the synopsis of your 100 days in Parliament? Then the second question I want to ask you is just a personal question to you, Dr. Shrobe. The JSE matter, we've heard about this matter in court, in the Western Cape High Court, but we've never heard personally from you as to how this matter affected you, and you've made arguments through your lawyers and through your advocates to that effect. But what is your view being on this whole, if I can call it, court case against you? Thank you.
Eerst al van die 24 en die burger newspaper. I just want to find out a little bit more after the interview of Advocate Kusisiwe Mqwebane yesterday, in which he said that MK made various offers to her even before Floyd Shivambu joined you guys. Is there still an interest in Kwebane? And maybe she joined already. Is there any update you can give us on that matter? Thank you.
Can I answer? DP? All right, thank you so much. I will deal with the first question that relates to our achievements as a political party. First of all, when we came here, we were nobody. We were just an MK. We had to fight for our position to be recognized as an official opposition in this country. The debates took place right in this very room. We had to get the rules of parliament amended to accommodate the fact that we are now in official opposition. All along, the Democratic Alliance, which is leading the coalition in government, wanted to sit in government when it suited them and be an opposition party when it suited them. We said no. If you are part of the GNU so-called, you cannot be an official opposition. It took quite a lot of debate and arguments. We were supported by our colleagues from the EFF. Eventually, we won the debate. As we sit here today, the MK party is an official opposition party in South Africa. That was, for us, a huge achievement. It doesn't end there. We have also decided to work with other progressive forces in parliament. There are parties here which are not part of the GNU, such as the EFF, the National Colored Convention, the ATM, and AUT. UAT, I beg your pardon, I call it AUT, and UAT. These are parties which are represented in the National Assembly, in Parliament, but they are not part of the DA-led coalition. So we had to get all those forces together. We are leading that opposition, put it this way, we are leading those progressive forces. We have achieved quite a bit. If you look at what we have done in Parliament, we have, in terms of questions that have been raised in Parliament and in terms of the statements that we have done. Right. So obviously we have had challenges, some changes have taken place, but on the whole, we believe we have gelled as a team, considering that we arrived here 2 weeks after other parties. So we believe we're at a stage where we can now focus on the business of the day in the National Assembly and in the NCOP. Those are some of our gains. You asked me a personal question about the JSC. Yes, the JSC, I consider myself a member of the JSC, right? The reason why I decided to withdraw from the JSC was strategic. The party has a right to be represented. MK party is an official opposition, so I've been gagged by this judiciary of Ramaphosa, meaning I cannot participate in the JSC. And then the party suffers because the party is not represented. There is no provision in the Constitution for an alternate member. So the obvious thing for me to do was to withdraw so that the party would deploy somebody else, so that the party would deploy somebody else in the JSC until my problems are cleared. I'm talking about political problems, because there is nothing legal. The Constitution is very clear. I have a right to sit on the JSC. Here in Parliament, I sit on the Justice Portfolio Committee. One of the things that the Justice Portfolio Committee does is to recommend salary adjustment for judges. So I can recommend their salaries and fix their salaries, but I can't interview them, right? So it's a strange situation. I can tell you what I'm doing was done by Justice Harding in America. He came from the state of Florida. He was the first black judge to be impeached. After he was impeached, he joined the Congress. He became a congressman in the state of Florida, and he was deployed to the JSC. In South Africa, when it suits a white man to look to other jurisdictions, to go to America and to go to the West by way of comparison, they do that without hesitation. There is no reason why that precedent was not followed. And the courts are courts of law, not courts of morals. Since when are courts courts of morals? It is only starting now because of law. Thank you. Do you want to do Mkhwebane?
Okay, I'll just deal with the issue of the legislation that we're looking at, given the current posture of the MK party as regards the constitution. As we have said in our statement, that as the MK party were deliberate and systemic in our approach, so the first starting point for us is to sort out the constitution. So in this term, we will be bringing a private member's bill to effect the amendment of Section 25 to ensure that expropriation of land without compensation is effected. We want to deal decisively with the trickery that the ANC did in the last administration, where instead of even respecting their own resolution of expropriation without compensation, they reneged and they did some monkey tricks and they came back with some foreign concept that is contrary to expropriation without compensation. This thing is called expropriation with nil compensation. At face value, we think that nil and no compensation is the same thing, but it's fundamentally different. When you say nil compensation, first it means that the principle to compensate is embedded. This is what the ANC has tricked people with. It therefore means you have to look into all manner of preconditions, whether to compensate or not to compensate, and yet their own resolution was clear that no compensation. So we want to clean that up and make sure that we fix that in the law, in Section 25 of the Constitution. Part of what we want to fix in that Constitution as well, in Section 25, subsection 7, which talks to the cutoff. We've got a very funny thing in this Constitution where the land robbery has been codified. That section, 25 subsection 7, has got a date, 19 June 1913. It's a cutoff date to say any land that was dispossessed by way of apartheid or colonialism, you can only deal with it from 1913 onwards. So before 1913, this constitution of this country is saying that is not negotiable. This is what the Constitution said. So we're saying, nonsense. We want to reverse that 19 June 1913 to the 6th of April 1652, when Jan van Riebeeck first set foot in this country. This is what we want to do as a
I think, what was the next question? Mkhwebane. Do you want to take that? The issue of Mkhwebane?
Yes. Advocate Mkhwebane is not a member of Umkhonto weSizwe Party. She is at liberty to join Umkhonto weSizwe Party, just like every South African is at liberty to join Umkhonto weSizwe Party, including you, journalists.
But I must add that I will be recruiting her.
I think Chief Whip was going to say, if my wife was a member of the EFF and I was MK, I'd be agitating that she joins. Next question? Wow, okay. Thank you very much, South Africans and members of the media houses. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. This will be the end. We'll see you in the National Assembly. Don't miss it. You want to be there. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Deal with the issue of whether any
It's controlled by me.
Okay.
it's just Hastings.
Hastings.
Yes,
H-A-S-T-I-N-G-S.
Yes.
Hastings.
Hastings, yes.
T.
Hastings.
State of
Hastings.
Florida.
Yes.
Hastings.
Hastings, state of Florida. Exactly. I'm following him.
Okay, I want to go and have a look.
And since when our course of
LC Hastings. Okay.
yes,
Funny name.
he was the first black judge to be impeached. Just like I hold the record of being the first black judge.
Thank you for schooling.
Well done.
Thank you for someone like me.
But it's powerful. It's good.
Yes, Gabon. Gabon.
Because I'm saying that we can't just be talking about that thing. We must talk about what you would have done.
If you found this video informative, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content like this. And as always, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay informed and stay engaged.